Rock, metal, prog, and everything in between. If you're into rock, you've come to the right place. Welcome to this episode of Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. Don't forget to follow the audio-only Talkin' Rock podcast on all podcast platforms. And now, it's time for today's conversation. Here's Meltdown.
There he is, Y2J. How you doing, man?
Y2J is like 20 years ago, man. That's like
one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's like saying, here's Lemmy with Ace of Spades in 2022.
Well, good to see you, man. By the way, happy early birthday. You got any birthday plans for next week? Just playing?
I'll be flying to Japan on that day.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, happy early birthday, man. Well, let's talk about.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Let's talk about the record and everything. Oh, hang on, it's getting warm in here. I better take off my jacket here. So
the boys. The boys.
I told him a little Easter egg for you. I'll just have to wear the Pot of Thunder shirt. I actually had a different shirt on today. I thought, I'm talking to Jericho. I better get this one on. So you've been on this podcast several times.
I have. Good friends of mine for sure. Love those guys.
I think Chris is coming to the show on Saturday in here in Wyandotte.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
very cool.
I've got a crazy schedule, but I'm gonna make it there as well myself after going to Buffalo this week. I'm gonna see Jack Russell and Don Jameson. So. But anyways, let's talk about Fozzy Spotlight on North America tour. First of all, the video is killer, man. The song is killer.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's we just got some stats. Always love hearing stats when you're a musician, but it's the fastest song we've ever had to hit the top 40 after 2 weeks. Usually it takes longer than that, so it's a great start. Radio's really picking up on it, which is great. And the video was awesome. Something I've never seen before, all based around drones. And those are real drones, not CGI drones. So we did some green screening on that. So yeah, we got a great new song with some great traction and a killer video. And it's just good to have some new material because it's been a while.
And what's with the child's voice on there? What was the idea behind that?
I don't know. A lot of people asked me about that. It was our producer, Johnny Andrews' idea. So I guess maybe just adds kind of like a creepy element to it, maybe something along those lines. So that's the thing. Like when you work with a team, like with Rich Ward and Johnny Andrews and Mark Willis, our manager, was very involved in the video. You let the pros be pros, and Johnny wanted to put that voice on there, and I was like, sounds good to me. I'm the singer. Whatever you want to do.
It kind of gave me like a little bit of a God of Thunder vibe. Did you get that as well or no?
No, I didn't get any God of Thunder vibe from it. I mean, if anything, it's like kind of a creepy horror movie type thing, but I didn't catch a God of Thunder. But if that's what you heard in the song and then that's what you feel, then that's good.
Yeah, I guess what Bob Ezrin, those were his kids, correct?
I don't know. I'm not the Kiss trivia master. Ask the Pot of Thunder guys.
Yeah, but I think that Bob Ezrin suggested having those kids in there and stuff. And also the song kind of reminded me a little bit of the song The Watcher from Ghost. Not exactly like the melody or nothing, but kind of like the overall vibe of it. Have you heard that song?
I haven't, man. But once again, there's a certain, like you said, a certain a creepy vibe at the beginning. It's got a little bit more of almost maybe a Prodigy type sound to me in a lot of ways. We've never really done a song like this before, but yet it's still 100% Fozzy. So that's what I like about it. It's a little bit of an evolution for us, but it still hits the mark as to who we are as a rock and roll band.
Yeah. So what else is coming down the pike for the band?
Well, I mean, once again, just kind of, Spotlight just came out a few weeks ago, and, we're on tour right now, and obviously radio is so important, as you know. So just kind of focusing on this right now. I think the idea for us over the next few years is to just release one song at a time rather than waiting 2 years and putting out a full record. The Boombox record, which we did, started in 2019 because of the lockdown, the pandemic. It took 3 years to basically get it released. We were calling it Chinese Fozzocracy. It took such a long time. And the thing that I realized about it is that we had 12 great songs on it. But out of those 12 great songs, 3 of them went to radio and were all top 10. 3 more of them we played live and did great. And then the other 6 songs just kind of disappeared. You don't play them live or release them to the radio. They kind of go to the Fozzy Dead Song Graveyard. I didn't want to waste those songs, Army of One and Omen and The Worst Is Yet to Come. Those are all great tunes. So what we wanted to do, starting with Spotlight, is release a song at a time and give each song its due, send each song to radio, play each song live, and then you can really see how what kind of legs it has, and if it can be another classic for us like Judas or I Still Burn in that vibe. So I think that's kind of what's what's going to happen for us in the future, is starting to really concentrate on a song by song basis.
Now, I'm kind of an old school guy, and I don't know if you're like this, but it's no stranger. I'm no stranger to the vinyl thing, to the whole experience. So I kind of like to have everything on there, even if some of the songs maybe do get lost. At least the core fans will hear them as well. You like that too, or no? Or you just?
Well, I mean, I like it because that's how I grew up. But once again, you got to stay ahead of the curve. And the way that people consume music nowadays, especially younger people, is it's all playlists and it's on shuffle and it's YouTube videos and that sort of a thing. So I think, as much as I hate to say it, because I still love the concept of a full album and the whole ebb and flow of, putting together the track listing and all that sort of thing, I just think it's almost becoming a little bit archaic. So I think, once again, as we've always done, we stay ahead of the curve rather than kind of stay ensconced in what was working before. So, like I said, are we ever not gonna do another record? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for right now, I like the song by song development. And plus, it's all about content nowadays. We hear content. I'd rather have a new song released every 3 or 4 months rather than every 1 or 2 years. So, like I said, I think just the way of the world right now, we're gonna work and go about things that way, and see how that changes or doesn't change the success of the songs that we've had. Because, like I said, we've had 7 consecutive top 40 singles right now, and then Spotlight will probably hit number 10, which will be our 6th consecutive top 10 singles. So we want to continue this role that we're on, as far as just being I guess a radio band at this point in time.
So how many songs do you have in the can right now?
We don't have any in the can.
Okay. All right.
We worked on Spotlight. We got it out, and we're always working on stuff, but there's nothing in the can per se. There's ideas and there's vibes for what we want to do for the next tune, but we're gonna, as when you release a record, release a song, it's a long journey. I mean, I could be talking to you 3-4 months from now, and Spotlight will still be in the charts, in the top 10 or number 1, because that's how long it takes a lot of times.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's go on to your other things. Of course, I'm a big fan of the podcast. I'm a really big fan of what you do. Mainly is on Fridays with like the more of the darker side, the haunted houses and more of the haunted stuff. So tell me a ghost story. Have you experienced a ghost yourself?
I haven't really. I've had a few things, like strange things that have happened, but not myself per se. I mean, you can always sense a certain vibe. I mean, I've had a few. I don't really want to get into them right now, but you can sense a vibe when strange things are happening. It's a feeling that you have, and I think that because I've had that feeling, experienced that, and because people love those stories, like you mentioned, it's always been a big part of Talk is Jericho, and having the paranormal side, the cryptozoology, that sort of thing, aliens, UFOs. So it's not every Friday. It's usually probably once a month or twice a month, just depending on what guests that I get. You know what I mean? I don't set a schedule of like, okay, I have to have somebody scary on, but there's always new stories to tell. And that's one of the things that I love about Talk is Jericho, is I think, as a listener, nobody really knows for sure what they're going to get next. Is it going to be music? Is it going to be wrestling? Is it going to be paranormal? Is it going to be a watch along? Is it going to be a classic album clash? Is it going to be a comedian, or whatever it may be? So I enjoy the variety of Talk is Jericho, and it was always based and built to be that way. It was never supposed to be just a music podcast or a wrestling podcast. It was supposed to be a Jericho podcast. What am I interested in, and what seems like would be a cool subject to talk about? And a lot of that, conspiracies and paranormal stories are always very interesting to discuss, and people enjoy them, like yourself.
Yeah, I love them. So, the one that sticks in my brain is the Sally House. I want to get there one day. You stayed there? You were there for a few hours or whatever?
No, I wasn't the Sally House. That's in like Kansas City area. I was in the Anderson Hotel, which is in Lexington,
Gotcha, yeah,
and
yeah.
That's a very haunted one. That's one of those ones when you walk in, you can feel kind of a heaviness the moment you go inside, and okay, something's a little off here. And like after an hour of being in there, because we did a podcast live from the Anderson Hotel, and there's no lights, and it's a mess inside. And after about an hour, I was like, it's time to get out of here. I'm done. I can feel it. There's something weird about this place.
There's a place called Eloise, which isn't too far away from where you're going to be playing this coming Saturday, and they got a big thing going on this weekend as well. I don't know what your schedule is, but that's a pretty wild place.
Well, we're excited too. The Saturday night's gig is going to be the biggest show of the tour. We're really excited, but we're getting closer to selling that one out. And we've never played there. We've played a lot in the Detroit area. Actually, we're in Lansing, Michigan tonight. We're in a couple other places that are
Madison
kind of
tomorrow. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. So, we always love playing Detroit proper, but when you get to some of these outside towns and outside areas, there's some great venues and some great people to play for. So I think Saturday's going to be massive for us. This whole weekend's going to be massive for us. Like I said, we've always done really well in Detroit. A lot of thanks in part in a lot of ways to the Riff for always supporting us. So, Detroit's just one of those areas. It's, as you know, it's a great rock and roll town. It's a great rock and roll area, and it's a great Fozzy area as well.
Yeah. The District 142 is awesome. It's a great new venue in south of the city. I guess south. Can't say South Detroit, but you get the picture. All right,
born and raised in South Detroit.
All right, couple last things here for you, Jericho, and we'll let you fly. Our friend Darren McCarty wants to know: does the King of Reinvention have characters in the closet, or is it more of an organic thing?
It's an organic thing. I never have anything planned. I just go with the flow and feel it. What feels right at the time. Because if you try and force something, it never works. It just has to feel right, and I have to be committed to it. And once I feel it's the right thing to do, then I do it. And 9 times out of 10, it works out.
Chris from Pot of Thunder says, who's hotter, Roz Kelly or Florence Henderson?
Roz Kelly, hands down, especially in the Paul Lynde Halloween special. Although Witchy Poo has got to be up there too if you're judging on the bell curve from that special.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I know what was it, the 45th anniversary? You mentioned Paul Lynde and stuff like that, but it was the 45th anniversary of Kiss meets the Phantom of the Opera, right? Just
Phantom of the Park.
Phantom of the Park. That's right. Yeah, Phantom of the Park. Yeah. Well, what do you think about that movie?
I mean, it's one of those movies that if you know. If you watched it right now for the first time, you'd probably think it was terrible. But if you're a Kiss fan and you get what was going on, it's super cheesy and ridiculous, and Devereaux. It's a fun watch if you're a Kiss fan our age, and if you aren't a Kiss fan, never ever watch it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Kiss just played here, and I don't know if you know they do this VIP thing. Of course, you guys do your VIP thing as well, and you kind of do the same type of thing with the sound check on the stage.
Yeah.
Their stage wasn't finished. They actually did this sound check thing on the concourse, which was really cool.
Yeah, we actually got the idea. We've been doing VIP for years and trying to think of what's the best way to do it for fans. And we did everything from, pictures and going to dinner with them and, whatever it may be. And after seeing Kiss do that, we realized that's the best way because you have to sound check anyways, which is great. And so instead of sound checking, you actually do a concert for the VIPs and play some songs that they're not going to hear later on that night. So everybody wins. I know, like if I wasn't in a band and, if I didn't know Kiss, I would go to their VIP in a second. I mean, Paul McCartney does it now and a lot of bands do it. And to me, that's just something extra. You get to hear some songs that, you're not going to hear anywhere else. And that people like the experience, and I think a great VIP is very important to a band nowadays because it really does keep the lights on as far as being able to go and tour. And it's an extra experience for those who want to do it. So I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah. All right. Final question here from PJ. He wants to know what's your favorite Trickster song. So I don't know. I mean,
none of them.
No,
actually probably, Give It To Me Good is just an all-time classic, but I always liked Rockin' Horse and Blood Rock from the Here record. Those are two good ones.
Wow. Yeah, I just got the Winger box set the other day. That third record, Pull, I just can't take it off my turntable.
It got put out at the wrong time. It's a great record, but it came out in 1993. And that point in time, Winger's expiration date had expired a couple years prior. But that's a great record, man. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and the other record I liked that came out around that time. So I was near the start of my radio career was on Revenge from Kiss. I thought that record had
great record. It's my favorite non-makeup Kiss record for sure. Yeah.
What do you think of The Elder? I like the record. I don't know.
I mean, it's very strange and weird. But once again, I think if you put yourself in a fan's shoes in 1981 when it came out, you'd be wondering what the hell is going on, and you wouldn't get it. In retrospect, listening to it now, it's weird. There's some good songs on it, but overall, it's weird. And Odyssey is the all-time worst/best Kiss song ever. There's a child in a sundress playing with a fish. Sounds like something from Spinal Tap, the Cups and Cakes or something like that.
Yeah, well, Spinal Tap, I'm sure, got some inspiration from that record and some other ones as well.
I'm sure they did, yeah.
Well, listen, Jericho, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it. Fozzy in town on Saturday at District 142 at the brand new District 142. Safe travels. We'll see you here in Detroit Rock City.
Sounds great, man. Always a pleasure, and we're super excited to be there on Saturday. And thanks for the support as always, dude.